following scenario was suggested by Crystal Abrahams. Drop a comment below and let me know what you would like to listen to next. This is Reed Winslow. I'm alive, still breathing, broadcasting from an old emergency relay station just north of Lander, Wyoming. Don't know who else is listening. Don't even know how long this signal's going to hold, but I need to try. It's 7:42 a.m. Mountain Time. It's quiet out. Too quiet. No birds, no traffic, no wind. Just that kind of silence that feels wrong. The kind that sinks into your bones and doesn't let go. The air's gotten heavy, thick, almost like smoke. But it's not smoke. It's ash. I stepped outside about an hour ago. There's a thin layer of it coating the grass, the windows, the solar panels. It's floating down like snow, but it's warm, and it stings your eyes. If you've got any kind of mask, wear it. If you don't, tie a wet rag over your mouth. Don't breathe it in raw. I know some of you heard the first booms yesterday. Not thunder, not planes. The sound came from beneath us, a deep, ripping roar, like the ground itself was splitting. That was just before noon. And then, silence. At 12:13 p.m., the phones dropped out. Every one of them. Cell service, internet, gone like someone flicked a switch. At 12:21, we lost the emergency weather channel. Static. Nothing else. I've been picking up scraps of no AA transmissions on a backup shortwave rig. The messages are choppy, buried under interference, but the words keep repeating. Volcanic activity, caldera, mass displacement, restricted airspace, shelter in place. If you're hearing this and you're still in the Intermountain West, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, get underground if you can. Basements, old storm shelters, parking garages, anything. The ash is only going to get worse. I don't have a full picture, but I've lived out here long enough to know what sits beneath our feet. Yellowstone. And I think it blew. Yesterday, right before the phones died, I was on a call with my friend, Caleb. He used to work for the Geological Survey. He was driving down from Jackson to Riverton. Said the ground was buckling near the Snake River, like a slow pulse under the road. He sounded scared. Caleb doesn't scare easy. He said the pressure gauges near the western caldera rim were spiking way off chart, climbing higher than he'd seen in decades. He said, "Dash." Wait. Hold on. There's something flickering on the monitor here. Okay. Battery backup's still online. The generator hasn't kicked in yet, which means the panels are giving me enough juice. The cloud cover hasn't completely blocked the sun, yet, but it's coming. If you're east of the Rockies, Casper, Cheyenne, Rapid City, you might still have time. Pack light, water, food, radios, batteries. Avoid the highways. Word is, they're clogged. People panicked. Some abandoned their cars, tried to run. But the ash came in fast. Visibility dropped to maybe 20 feet. Headlights can't cut through it. And once the engines clog up with ash, they just die where they stand. This is what I see out the window now. Flat gray. No horizon. No sun. Just this slow drifting curtain of death. I can barely make out the top of the windmill by the barn. It's still turning. That's good. I've got enough food here for maybe 3 weeks. More if I ration. Water's from a hand pump. No filter, but it'll do for now. I've rigged the battery bank to keep the signal alive as long as possible. After that, we go dark. Someone's got to keep talking. Someone's got to tell the story. Because the networks won't. They're down. FEMA's not responding. No new alerts on the emergency broadcast system. It's all just gone quiet. And that's what scares me most. If you're hearing me, write it down. keep your own record. This might be all we've got left. I'll be back in 10 minutes, maybe less. Just need to reset the inverter and check on the air intake. If this signal cuts out, wait for the next one. I'll be broadcasting on 2.675 megahertz narrowband FM every hour on the hour until the juice runs dry. Hold the line. Stay low. And for God's sake, don't breathe the ash. Readout. All right, I'm back. It's 8:05 a.m. now. Ashfall's gotten heavier. I stepped out to clear the solar panels just now, and it felt like walking through dust blown off a construction site, but thicker, bitter in the throat. The sky is that strange bruised yellow color. Not black yet, just sickly. Sun's gone behind the haze completely now. I wouldn't call it daylight, more like a dim flashlight filtering through wet cloth. The power system's holding, for now. Batteries are at 64%. Inverter's running warm. I've shut down everything non-essential. Fridge, heater, lights. It's just this mic, the rig, and a small console screen. Temperature outside is sitting at 87 degrees. That's warm for this early, but it's not sunlight heat. It's geothermal. Feels like it's rising up from under the ground, not coming down from the sky. I don't know how deep the fissures go, but something down there's boiling. I saw something strange out there too. The birds are gone. Haven't heard one in hours. But there was this dog, someone's old shepherd maybe. It was wandering up the dirt road, limping bad, muzzle coated in gray. Looked like it didn't know where it was. Kept pacing in a circle near the barbed fence before it just lay down. I didn't have the heart to go near it. I don't think it saw me. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, or if this is all that's left, I'm still transmitting from the backup emergency tower near Lander, 462.675 megahertz. I'm Reed Winslow. Used to work at WY Public Radio. Ran late-night music shows for nobody but truckers and sleepless miners. Funny how quiet nights were something I used to love. Not like this. Okay. Update on what I've heard so far. What little I've been able to piece together. There's no federal coordination. Not anymore. I've been sweeping the dial all morning. Nothing from Denver. Nothing from DC. No AA broadcast from Boulder went dead around 3 a.m. Their last words were clipped. Ash layer, climbing beyond projected. And then static. I did catch something earlier. Short transmission from what sounded like a ham operator out in Sioux Falls. He said they were seeing fallout already. Ash reaching the rooftops. Said the hospitals were full and the backup generators were starting to fail. People were trying to get oxygen tanks for their kids, for the elderly. Couldn't find any. He sounded calm. Too calm. Like he was past panic already. His name was Mike, I think. Mike Delaney. Said he used to work security at a grain elevator. Now he's guarding water barrels and propane tanks with an old shotgun. If anyone in South Dakota's hearing this, Mike's alive. He's got a signal. He's trying to help people near him stay together. Look for the call sign, K9ZRC, if you're scanning. I don't know how long he'll last. Ash is like a slow poison. It's not just the lungs. It gets into machines, clogs filters, locks up engines, destroys electronics. This isn't the kind of thing you can just wait out in a car. It eats everything. Back in 2011, I read about the Grimsvötn eruption in Iceland. Small thing, relatively speaking. Still grounded most of Europe's flights for days. That ash wasn't even dense compared to what we're dealing with now. This is worse. The last message I got from Caleb, my USGS friend, was short. Just 3 words. It breached containment. That was all. I've been trying to figure out what he meant. The caldera system under Yellowstone is massive, hundreds of square miles of magma chamber, layered like a wedding cake from hell. Most of it's deep underground, sealed under layers of stone. For it to breach means that the pressure built up faster than expected, that it found a path upward. Steam fractures, hydrothermal explosions. Maybe the whole cap rock blew off in pieces. And if that happened, if the chamber emptied, we're looking at a super eruption. Not just a flare-up. Not just lava or geysers. This would be a months-long blackout of sunlight. Ash blocking photosynthesis. Crops failing. Power grid failing. Planes grounded. No fuel delivery. No mass production. No refrigeration. No global trade. And no food. And we're not talking about theory anymore. It's already happening. Someone called in an hour ago. I didn't catch the name. Think they were in Bozeman. Said they were seeing military trucks moving out, not in. Said it looked like the Air Force base near Malmstrom was evacuating. That means command doesn't plan to stay. They're pulling back. Maybe to bunkers. Maybe to higher ground. Or maybe they've just written this region off entirely. I've got a map on the wall here with thumbtacks marking the old FEMA response zones. The red zone? That's all of Yellowstone, from the Tetons to Billings. And I think it's already gone. Flattened. Covered. Buried under feet of pyroclastic debris. If there were towns left, we'd be hearing something. We're not. God. I remember going camping up in Cody when I was younger. There's a diner there. Was, I guess, called Grace's. Best cinnamon rolls on earth. If anyone from Cody's listening, if you're alive, please write in. Anything. This station's old, but it's got a short-range emergency receive line. Analog. I've hooked up the repeater to cycle every 15 minutes. If you transmit a short burst on the same frequency, it'll log it to the onboard drive. I'll hear it on replay. Say your name, say your town, say who made it out with you, even if it's just a whisper. All right, I need to check the water pump. Pressure's been dropping. The ash might be gumming it up. I'll be back in about 20 minutes, maybe less. This is Reed Winslow, Station 9. Scratch that. There's no station left. Just me. Still broadcasting from the last standing tower I could find. Stay low, stay smart, and keep breathing, if you can. We're not alone yet. It's 9:16 a.m. now. The wind just picked up. Only for a few seconds, but enough to rattle the metal door and scatter ash into the intake vents. I've tried to seal everything as best I can, but the stuff finds its way through cracks you didn't even know were there. Tastes like burnt plastic and soil when you breathe it. You don't notice it right away. But give it an hour and your throat's raw, your eyes sting, and your teeth feel like they're grinding grit. Visibility's maybe 10 feet outside now. If you were out there looking for a lost dog or trying to check on a neighbor, you'd get turned around in minutes. No landmarks, no road lines, just gray. Everything's just gray. The batteries are holding at 58%. I've slowed the fan speed on the inverter cooling system to conserve juice. The air in here's getting thick. I can feel the temperature rising. 91 degrees indoors now. Humid. Still. The signal's been steady so far. But if I suddenly go quiet, it means I've lost the panels, or the inverter tripped, or the antenna finally bent under the weight of the ash. I can't fix any of those things from inside this shack, and going outside now feels like stepping onto the moon without a suit. I don't know how many people are still trying to listen. I haven't gotten any new repeater bursts since dawn. Could mean people are too scared to transmit. Could mean they're conserving power. Could mean they're gone. If you've got a signal, even a weak one, try to transmit a 5-second burst every top of the hour. Keep it short. Just your name, your location, who's still alive with you. Earlier I said this wasn't the kind of quiet I liked. I meant that. Out here in Wyoming, we're used to stretches of silence, high plains silence, cold silence. You hear the occasional coyote or the wind through dry fence wire, but there's always something in the background, a hum, a buzz, some sign that the world's still spinning. This silence is wrong. It's dead silence, like something big has been buried and the sound died with it. You ever been in a soundproof room before? I have. Just once in Cheyenne, as a kid. My uncle worked in telecoms and took me to the test chamber. Thick foam walls, no reflections. You could hear your own heartbeat in your ears. That's what this feels like. Except outside, something's still alive. Earlier, while I was outside clearing vents, I saw something moving through the ash about 30 yards down the hill. Could have been a person. Could have been a deer. But it didn't move like either. It was low to the ground and fast. No sound. No tracks. Just a ripple in the haze, like it was gliding through. Could have been my eyes playing tricks on me. Or maybe I'm starting to see things. Sleep's been hard to come by. Every sound sets off alarm bells now. But I've lived here long enough to trust my gut. And my gut says, stay inside, keep quiet, keep the lights off after sundown. Switching topics now, because spiraling into fear doesn't help anyone. I got a very faint burst from a man named Travis, if I heard the name right, broadcasting from Rock Springs. He said they were trying to set up a food exchange in an abandoned school gym. Said there were maybe 30 people left, a mix of old ranchers, kids, and 2 EMTs who drove down from Jackson before the roads disappeared. They've got beans, rice, powdered milk, not much else. No meds, no fuel, and no help. Travis asked if anyone out there has antibiotics. Said his kids got a lung infection. They're boiling water, burning pine needles to keep warm, using coffee filters to catch ash before it gets into their lungs. This is what survival looks like now. Not bunkers. Not prepper compounds with solar-powered bunk beds. It's gym floors, plywood tables, scavenged camp stoves, and terrified kids hiding under blankets. If you've got extra meds and you're near Rock Springs, find a way. Carefully. Quietly. Try to make contact through relay bursts. No names on the open air. We don't know who else is listening anymore. I say that because the last 2 repeater pings I got didn't sound like civilians. One was just static, then a clear, deliberate ping pattern, Morse style, tapped in evenly, military rhythm, but no ID tag. The other was even stranger. Came in from north of Riverton, where the training base used to be. It was a voice, but distorted. Said, "Red Eagle is secure," over and over, then cut out. That base was decommissioned years ago. Which raises the question, who reactivated it? And why? I don't have answers, but I've been asking myself this one thing all morning. Where are the government broadcasts? The emergency alert system should have flooded every channel when Yellowstone blew. The president should be speaking, governors, FEMA, the CDC, but there's nothing. Either the chain of command is broken, or they've gone underground and chosen not to burn any more bandwidth. Either way, we've been left behind. So it's on us now. If you're listening, if you're alive, If you've got power, start organizing. You need water. That's the first thing. Find an old well, a sealed reservoir, or build a tarpon bucket setup to catch condensation at night. Filter with charcoal, boil everything. Food. Don't waste time looting gas stations. The shelves are already empty. Go for storage lockers. Break into vending machines. Rice, oats, dried anything. Get off the roads. Camp near brick or stone structures. Not wood. Ash will ignite it. Keep a low profile at night. No open flames unless you've blocked light from escaping. And remember, don't travel alone. That's how people vanish. It's strange what this kind of disaster does to people. Some become better versions of themselves. Others snap. I've seen it before. In smaller disasters, fires, flash floods. That moment when a man has to choose between sharing his last bottle of water or using it to barter a gun. Watch each other. Trust, but don't be stupid. It's 9:42 a.m. now. I'm going to eat something. Just a can of beans and some hard bread from last week. I'll come back on in 15 minutes with another update. If I lose you, remember, the signal cycles every hour. 462,675 MHz. Narrowband. Burst signals every 15. Say your name. Say your town. Say who's still alive. And if you're near the edge of the ash, head east. Fast as you can. Reed Winslow. Still here. Still trying. Okay, it's 10:07 a.m. We just had our first total blackout. Power went out at 9:51. Everything. Lights, rig, cooling fans, even the repeater cycle. Gone. I was mid-sentence, trying to log a note into the recorder, and it all just blinked off. Dead silence. Took 13 minutes to get it all back online. I had to crank the emergency flywheel by hand. Don't ask me how long that'll last. It's not meant for constant load, just enough to send out brief emergency flares. But it's all I've got now, until the sun breaks through again, if it ever does. I can't stop shaking, not from cold, though the temperature dropped fast once the systems went down. It's the silence that hit me, that deep, crawling silence. When the static goes, and the hum of the fans stops, and you realize how alone you really are. I thought about not coming back on, just sitting here in the dark, eating canned peaches, and waiting for the sky to fall. But then the repeater pinged. One tiny burst. Just a few seconds. It was a woman's voice. She was crying. She said, "This is Rachel, Laramie. We're in the parking garage under the college. My sister, she's burned. The roof came down. Please, someone tell me what to do." That's all I got. I don't even know if she was live or if it was recorded before her power failed. But I heard it. I heard the fear in her voice, the cracks, the shaking breath. Rachel, if you're listening, I heard you. I don't know how to reach you, but I'm going to try and guide you if I can. Listen to me closely. First, cover the burn. Don't remove any clothes stuck to it. Use a clean cloth if you have it, boiled if possible. Keep it dry. Don't use ice. Just cool, clean water if it's available. If your sister's still conscious, talk to her. Keep her awake. If you have any kind of flashlight or LED, shield it. Don't draw attention. The streets aren't safe anymore. Not because of people, because of what the ash does. It blinds, yes, but it also silences everything. If you hear footsteps but no voice, wait. Listen. I can't explain it better than that. Back when I was in high school, I went hiking with my dad up into the Gros Ventre wilderness. It was after a small quake that shifted the trail. We found a patch of ground that steamed constantly. He said it was harmless, just a vent. But the trees around it were all dying, leaves pale, bark peeling. That steam smelled like eggs, rotten ones. Sulfur, I know now. Back then, I just thought it meant we'd found something rare. He took a photo of me standing near the vent, smiling. I was holding a stick in one hand, pointing toward the rising mist. I still have that photo in a box somewhere, wrapped in wax paper. My hair's longer in it. My face isn't so worn. I didn't know then what a caldera even was. Dad died 5 years ago, lung cancer. He always said the radon readings in the house weren't high enough to worry about. But now, I think maybe it wasn't the radon. Maybe it was something older, deeper, seeping through over time. I wonder how many people right now are breathing the same poison. I can't stop thinking about Caleb. If he really saw the crust fracture near Snake River, that means the blast radius must have reached the Tetons. That entire mountain range, gone or buried. That's not just a landslide. That's geological death. No one survives that without warning. And we got no warning. Which brings me to something else. Something I haven't said yet. 3 days before the eruption, I got an email, anonymous, short, said, "Yellowstone clock is ticking. Evac is already underway. Public won't be told until it's too late. Protect yourself. Trust no broadcasts after Friday." I deleted it. Thought it was a hoax. Conspiracy garbage. We get that all the time in radio. Now I keep thinking, what if it wasn't? What if someone knew? Not just guessed, but actually knew. Because the silence from Washington, from state agencies, from the emergency networks, it's not just collapse. It feels coordinated. Abandonment is policy. Controlled silence. If you're out there, if you were one of the ones who saw this coming and stayed quiet, I hope you choke on that silence now. Sorry, that was anger. It slips out more often now. I need to breathe. Deep breath. Okay, let me tell you what I see now. The window is covered. I taped a thick towel over it to block the ash and light, but the edges still glow faintly, like a dying sun on the other side. There's a single drip coming from the ceiling, condensation from the heat and humidity. It lands in a little bowl I set beneath it, about 1 drop every 30 seconds. It adds up, enough to rinse my mouth if I'm patient. My hands are dirty, covered in fine powder. I used to wash them 10 times a day. Now I can serve water like it's gold. There's a black and white photo of my mom tacked to the wall. She was 22 in it, hair tied back, standing next to a vintage Chevy, smiling like she knew something the rest of the world didn't. That photo's the only color I see these days, even though it's in grayscale. I talk to it more than I should. It's quiet again. No repeater pings this hour. No calls. Just me. Still here. Still trying. If anyone's out there, consider this your check-in window. Say your name. Your town. Who made it out. Even if it's just you. We'll take it one broadcast at a time. Reed Winslow, signing off for now. It's 11:12 a.m. The static's been heavier this hour. Not just interference, there's a pulse behind it. Low frequency, barely audible, like a heartbeat through the wire. I don't know if it's the solar battery surging, or if something's bleeding through from another station, but it's new. It wasn't there yesterday. It comes and goes. That's the thing about silence now. It's not real silence. It's full of ghosts. You hear them in the in-between moments. Like this soft tap I keep catching behind the wall. Could be ash settling. Could be the metal joints flexing from heat. Could be a mouse. But it always comes in threes. Tap, tap, tap. Always just before I speak. I haven't eaten since early morning. My appetite's gone. Not from sickness, just something about hearing the voice of that girl, Rachel, and not being able to help her. It sticks with me. I keep wondering if she's still down there, breathing in ash, watching her sister fade. Maybe she's still holding out hope that someone heard her. I heard you, Rachel. If you're still alive, say something. Anything. I got another repeater ping an hour ago. It was choppy, but I was able to isolate it. A man's voice. He was whispering. He said, "We're near Rawlins. They shot at us when we tried to cross the checkpoint. Not bandits. Soldiers. Unmarked. Not local. I think we're the only ones who made it. They're burning the bodies." That was it. No name. No call sign. Just that. Rawlins is 2 hours south by car. Less if the roads weren't dead. But if there are armed groups out there, uniforms with no flags, then someone is still operational. But they're not helping. They're controlling. Maybe that's what the email meant. Maybe the evac underway wasn't meant for the public. Maybe it was a lockdown. Selective protection. Everyone else. Left to burn. I've seen something like this before. Not this scale, no. But years ago there was a train derailment near Pinedale. Tankers carrying chemicals spilled into the river. People started coughing blood, skin rashes, hallucinations. Took 6 hours for the EPA to even admit it happened. By then, it was too late for dozens of families. They kept the cleanup quiet, used contractors with no logos, paid in cash, no press allowed near the site for weeks. Sound familiar? This is how they handle things when optics matter more than lives. I used to report on that. Back when I believed someone would do something if you said the truth out loud. Now, I say it into static, and I don't even know if anyone's out there. I found an old emergency protocol manual tucked behind a rusted cabinet in the broadcast room, dated 1983, water damaged. The pages are thin and curled, but still legible. There's a section titled Continuity of Government, COG for short. It outlines procedures for non-nuclear mass disruption scenarios, includes instructions for maintaining isolated communication nodes, temporary martial jurisdiction handoffs, and Tier 2 contingency resource preservation. That's a mouthful for lock it down and save the powerful. There's even a checklist. Seal bunkers. Redirect supply lines. Activate shadow transmitters. Terminate civilian alerts after blackout phase begins. Terminate civilian alerts. Let that sink in. I think that's where we are now. The blackout phase. It's why all the weather updates stopped. Why the air bases are radio silent. Why no one's broadcasting presidential messages from the shelters. They've chosen the quiet. Because if no one knows, no one panics. If no one panics, fewer bodies to clean up later. God, I didn't want to believe this when I started broadcasting. I kept telling myself, it's a system failure, a chain reaction. Nobody meant to let it happen. But now, the pattern's too clean. The silence is too well timed. That pulse on the static? That's not interference. That's control. They're still listening. I'm going to change the subject now. Because if I don't, I'll start shouting into the mic. And there's no one here to stop me from unraveling. Let's talk about food. For those still hanging on, still organizing, you need to understand. The first 3 weeks are the hardest. Not because you'll starve, but because that's when your body starts realizing there's no backup coming. Here's what I've done. I've split my rations into 3 bins: water-rich, calorie-dense, and emergency only. Water-rich is for hydration, canned fruit, old boxed soups, anything with liquid. I eat from this in the mornings to stretch my own water supply. Calorie-dense is my main meals: crackers, peanut butter, jerky, even some dry cereal that hasn't gone stale yet. Emergency only is just 5 cans: beans, condensed milk, rice. If I eat from those, it means it's over. Do the same if you can. Keep track. Don't rely on your gut. You'll panic eat without meaning to. And don't forget salt. You lose it faster in heat, especially in stress. Even a few packets stolen from an old fast food bag can help. I found a stash of them in the glove compartment of the station's truck, probably from some road trip 20 years ago. They taste like dust now, but they work. Also, don't throw away your tea bags after one use. You can brew the same one 3 or 4 times. It won't taste like much, but it'll give you something warm, something normal. You need moments of normal. Because the world outside doesn't look like ours anymore. I stepped outside for exactly 90 seconds earlier. Masked, goggles on, heavy coat. And even then I could feel the heat from the ground through my boots. The air smelled like battery acid and coal. The barn collapsed. I didn't even hear it go. I looked out, and the roof had just caved in. Ash piled on top like snow, but heavier, wet underneath. There were old supplies in there, tools, a broken radio I meant to fix. It's all buried now. One more thing lost to this slow death. It's 11:44 a.m. No repeater signals this cycle. I'll try again in 20 minutes. Stay quiet. Stay together. And if anyone from Rawlins is listening, please respond. Let me know what's really happening down there. This is Reed Winslow, still here, for now. It's 12:21 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm attempting a long-range signal boost right now. Switched over the antenna input to high gain, rerouted power from the interior lights. If you're outside the regional zone, somewhere east of the Rockies, maybe even Kansas, you might be picking this up for the first time. If so, I'm sorry you're hearing it this way. My name is Reed Winslow. I'm broadcasting from a backup tower station outside of Lander, Wyoming. The world as you knew it ended 5 days ago, maybe longer depending on how far the signals lagged. Yellowstone erupted. Not a warning, not a tremor, not a geyser show. The caldera let go, and everything since has been slow, quiet collapse. I've been trying to keep a record, not for historians, not for archives, for us, for whoever's still out there, trying to make sense of why the air burns, why the sky turned yellow, why no one's answering your calls. If you're new to the broadcast, ash is the biggest threat right now, not just from the first blast, though that was bad enough. It's what keeps falling. It gets into lungs, eyes, water tanks. It gums up engines, filters, machines. If you're outside, mask up. If you don't have one, soak cloth in clean water, wrap it tight, and breathe shallow. Ash scars your lungs faster than you think. Stay off roads. Asphalt's coated in dust, too thick to drive on. Wind kicks it up like smoke. Visibility drops to inches. The minute you get lost out there, that's it. Back to the long-range attempt. I've jury-rigged a booster from some old copper wire and the CB antenna from the ranger's truck that used to sit behind the station. The tires are melted flat now. but the equipment inside was old enough to survive the EMP that followed the eruption. Nothing digital, just analog knobs and scratched tape decks. It might save me. Boosting this signal cost 20% of my solar bank. That's 3 hours of power if I ration everything. I'll have to shut down the fridge completely after this. Hope the last of the fruit doesn't rot too fast. All for a shot in the dark. But that's what this is now. Just shot after shot into the dark. I said earlier that Yellowstone erupted. What I didn't say was this. I saw it. Not with my eyes, not directly. But I felt it, heard it. The pressure change rolled through the earth like a wave. You know how thunder feels when it's right overhead? The way your chest tightens and your ears pop? This was that, but deeper, slower, like something from underground was breathing. Just once. One long, dying breath that cracked windows and knocked dishes off the wall. And then came the light. I was sitting right here, mid-recording, trying to transfer an old jazz show to backup. It was 12:11 p.m. The lights flickered, the signal dropped, and then the sky outside turned white. Blinding white. Not sunlight, not lightning, just light, wide and directionless. It didn't fade for several seconds. When it did, the sound followed, like the world was tearing apart from the center. I hit the deck, covered my ears, tried not to think. Then ash. It didn't fall right away. First came silence, then wind. Hot, rushing wind. Then the flakes. Dry at first, then wet, like someone shook a furnace out over the mountains. That was the moment I knew. And everything since has just been confirmation. You can try to deny it. Tell yourself it was just an isolated eruption, that the authorities will fix it, that help is coming. But you'd be lying. Help's not coming. We are the help now, for each other, or for no one. I promised I'd read every message I get. So here's one that came through half an hour ago. The relay barely caught it. Voice was slurred. Probably dehydration. Name's Angela, Salt Lake City. We're underneath Temple Square. Power's gone. Ash came down through the skylights. Kids are sick. We tried burning church pews for heat. Didn't know they'd been varnished. Smoke choked out the west wing. We can't leave, please. Someone. Angela, if you're still listening, I hear you. If you're really underneath Temple Square, and if you're alive, you need to seal that ventilation. Block the ash from coming in. Use wet cloth. If you've got anything metal, use it to reflect heat away from the kids. And don't burn the pews again. The chemicals will kill you faster than the cold. I used to walk those streets. Downtown Salt Lake. Back when I was in college. Spent one summer working nights at a tiny classical station just off 3rd West. Slept in my car most weeks. Ate canned beans. Drank black gas station coffee that tasted like rust. But I was happy. Music in my ears. Mountains behind me. Sky full of stars. Now the stars are gone. Sky's gray. Mountains. I don't even know if they're still standing. I want to tell you something I haven't told anyone yet. After the blackout this morning, I started writing a letter. Paper and pencil. Actual handwriting. I hadn't written anything like that in years. It was to my sister. She's in Vermont. Or was. We haven't spoken in 6 months. We fought. Over politics. Over who was right about something that didn't even matter. I wrote her the letter like she could hear me. Like I could fold it up and send it somehow. It said, "I'm sorry. You were right about most things. I was too stubborn to admit it." Then I burned the letter. Not because I didn't mean it, but because I realized she may never read it, and because the act of writing it made it real. We were fools to think this place couldn't break. Fools to think the ground would always stay still. You listening out there? You, wherever you are, if there's someone you love, and you're lucky enough to still have a way to reach them, do it. Don't wait. Don't play stubborn. Don't pretend like things will be the same tomorrow. They won't. Ash is falling again. I can hear it tick against the roof, like dry leaves brushing metal. I'll be back after I check the intake filter. If I don't come back in 15 minutes, assume the battery failed. Reed Winslow, Lander, Wyoming. Holding on. If you're alive, say your name, say your town, say who's still breathing. It's 1:02 p.m. I almost didn't come back. 10 minutes ago I thought it was over. The inverter locked up. The signal dropped. Red light on the console. Everything just stopped humming. And then came the wind. I'm not talking about a breeze or a gust. I mean something else. Something fast, low, and hard. Like a freight train made of ash. It hit the station from the west side. Shook the frame. Sounded like metal sandblasting glass. It blew the tarp off the antenna mast, ripped part of the roof flashing clean off. I could hear ash scraping sideways across the walls, thick enough to dull the light. I was mid-broadcast test, standing by the door, watching the barometer, when it dropped by 7 points in under a minute. That's not weather. That's a collapse. Pressure giving way to something deeper. I killed the power, crouched under the table, and waited. Just listened to the world try to sandpaper me into silence. And the thing is, it didn't stop suddenly. It just slowed. Got quieter bit by bit, until I realized it wasn't gone. I'd just gone deaf to it. I had to reset the inverter manually, cut the panel feed for a full minute, and wait for the surge suppressor to cool. It worked, for now. But it cost me another 10% of the battery. I'm down to 37. I don't know what kind of weather system creates that much force without warning. I don't know if it was triggered by more underground shifts, or if this is just the sky reacting to the debris. But the noise? It wasn't just wind. It had a rhythm, almost like breathing. I know that sounds crazy. I know I've been alone too long. But I swear, there was a moment, a pattern, where the gusts came in waves, big inhale, then silence, then again, like something massive was inhaling above us, and we were the dust in its lungs. Maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe we've disturbed something even deeper than we thought. Anyway, I got a relay ping right after I rebooted. I almost didn't open it. I was still shaking, hands raw from gripping the crank. But I'm glad I did. It was a voice, young, a boy, maybe 10 years old. He was scared, but calm. He said, "My name is Eli. I'm in Grand Island, Nebraska. I'm at the library. The lady who worked here, she didn't wake up. I think the air made her stop breathing. I have a flashlight and peanut butter. I don't know how to use the radio. I just pushed the red button. Please tell me if I'm doing it right." Eli, you're doing it right. If you can hear me, stay put. Don't go outside unless you see fire or hear something break. Keep the flashlight pointed at the ceiling, not out the windows. Tape anything you can find over the vents. And keep talking to me. Every hour. Push that button again and say anything. Even if it's just that you're still there. You're not alone, Eli. You're not. I used to work in a library too. Small one, down in Gunnison, Tuesday shifts. I shelved paperbacks, helped old men search for books they couldn't pronounce, and cleaned up the teen section after school let out. It smelled like dust and dryer sheets. Every chair was mismatched, but it felt like safety. Places like that, they were normal. And I think that's what I miss most. Normal. Not the rush hour traffic or the emails or the grocery checkout lines, but the tiny, ordinary things. Knowing the exact sound the front door made when it shut. The way light hit your kitchen table around 4 p.m. The feeling of walking barefoot on a wood floor that had been warmed by the sun. That was normal. We thought it was boring. But it was everything. And we didn't know it until the silence came. Now, the world is quiet, but it's not peace. It's empty. I can't remember the last time I heard another human voice in person. And I don't mean a shout or a broadcast. I mean the actual voice of someone else inside the same room. That weight you feel in your chest when someone's breathing near you. That warmth of shared space. It's been days. I don't know how much longer I can do this without hearing someone knock on that door. Or yell from the road. Or walk in by mistake, looking for shelter. Even just a stranger. Even just a voice. But maybe that's not for me anymore. Maybe my job now is to be the voice other people hear. Maybe that's enough. Eli, if you're still there tomorrow, I want you to find a book and read it out loud. Pick any page. Doesn't matter what it is. Just let yourself hear a voice in the room, even if it's your own. That's how we remind ourselves we're real. That we're still human. That we still matter. I'm going to try to patch the roof flashing now. I've got a metal sheet from the old breaker box and some duct tape that barely sticks anymore. Should hold for a day if the winds don't come back. Batteries are at 35%. I'll check in at 2 p.m. Sharp, if I still have enough juice. If I don't, wait for the repeater. You'll know it when you hear the soft double ping. That's me. And if you're out there, say your name, say your town, say who's still breathing. This is Reed Winslow, still here, still trying. It's 2:03 p.m. I'm not entirely sure what I just heard. About 15 minutes ago, while I was sealing the breach in the roof flashing, the static on the emergency monitor started pulsing again. But not the way it has before. Not like natural interference. This time it was rhythmic. Almost like a message. At first I thought maybe someone was trying to send Morse. Some ham operator finally boosting through with a proper code stream. I wrote it down, best I could, though I'm out of practice translating it. Still, I caught something odd. It repeated every 22 seconds, then cut off completely. I turned off everything else to isolate the signal, then cranked the input gain, nearly fried the board doing it. But I needed to be sure. There was a voice under the static. It wasn't clear. It didn't sound human. Not in the usual sense. But it said something. The same thing. Over and over. Are you alone? Are you still Reed? Then a pause. Then again. Are you alone? Are you still Reed? I didn't answer. I sat there with the headphones in, heart racing like I'd just run up a mountain. I watched the spectrometer on the display and saw it, clear wave peaks, deliberate, repeating, not noise, not echoes. I shut it off, rebooted the entire rig from cold. I've worked in radio a long time. I've heard weird bursts before, pirate signals, numbers stations, feedback loops. But this It knew my name. And not just that. The tone, the way it said it, wasn't a question. It was like it was testing, like it already knew, and wanted to see what I'd do. I know how that sounds. I know. I'm sleep-deprived. I haven't spoken face-to-face with anyone in 5 days now. I've stopped keeping track. Could be 7. Could be 3. But I also know this. I didn't imagine it. And I think someone, or something, is listening to the repeater pings we're sending out. Tracking them, bouncing them back, twisted. I don't know how. Maybe they're scanning the emergency relay bands. Maybe they're AI left running somewhere deep underground. Maybe they're just men, smart ones, twisting tech into something cruel. But that voice? That wasn't human instinct. That was calculated. The first time I ever sat behind a mic, I was 24, college radio, KRQU, midnight to 3 a.m. shift. No pay, just a stool, a switchboard, and a stack of scratched CDs. I was the voice that nobody heard. One night, around 2:15, I got a call. No station phone, no outside lines. But the light on line 1 started blinking anyway. I picked it up, because of course I did. The voice on the other end was breathy. Just said, "Reed, it's quiet now." Then hung up. I didn't think about it again for years. Told myself it was a prank. Someone who knew I was on air. Maybe even another bored student listening in. But I've remembered that call more in the last week than I have in the past decade, because it's been quiet for too long now, and the voices I'm hearing through the wires don't sound random anymore. Earlier today, I got a short repeater ping. Very faint. I almost didn't catch it. Was about to switch bands when the static broke for just a moment. "Don't trust the children. They aren't coughing." That's all it said. What do you even do with a message like that? Who sent it? Why? I think of Eli, the boy in Grand Island, alone in the library. I think of him listening, flashlight fading, wrapped in blankets, scared, but trying. And then I hear that message again. Don't trust the children. And something in me breaks. Because if we start distrusting each other, even the kids, what's left? If we look at the few who are still alive and start wondering what they are instead of who, we're finished. That's how the last layer of humanity dies. Not in fire, not in ash, in suspicion. I'm not going there. Not yet. I believe Eli is real. I believe Rachel from Laramie is real. Angela in Salt Lake, real. I believe in the people whose voices cracked, who cried when they spoke, who asked for help like they still believed it might come. That's the sound of real life, not the mimic, not the voice pretending to be me. I'll be shifting this frequency back to tight band only for the next 2 hours, just to stay off whatever radar might be tracking the broader bursts. If you're trying to reach me, switch to short relay, 10-second bursts at 462.675 megahertz, 2-watt power FM narrowband. It'll punch through just enough for me to record you. Say your name. Say your town. And say a word only you would know. A password, a story, something human. That's how we tell each other apart from the echoes. I'll be here. My name is Reed Winslow. And yes, I'm still me. It's 3:12 p.m. I just spent the last 40 minutes trying to isolate a repeating signal coming out of northern Colorado. The transmission's been coming in on an unstable pulse, right at the fringe of what this relay rig can pick up. Strong enough to be deliberate. Weak enough that I don't think they want it heard widely. Here's what I've pieced together. The message repeats every 134 seconds. Between each loop, there's exactly 17 seconds of silence, not random static. Deliberate silence. Clean cut. No distortion. And every time it comes back, it says the same 4 words. Not even a full sentence. It just says, test group breached. Repeat. Test group breached. Then, samples compromised. Do not retrieve. And then it loops. That's not emergency services. That's not FEMA or REDCROSS. That's containment language. Lab protocol. You don't call a refugee camp a test group. You don't call people samples. I think this was bigger than we thought. Not just an eruption. Something was stored down there. Something not meant to come out. Look, I don't deal in conspiracies. I'm not that guy with the bulletin board and the red string and the radio show talking about lizard people. But I do pay attention. And when the government goes completely dark the minute a known supervolcano blows, and then someone starts broadcasting words like compromised and do not retrieve, well, you don't have to wear a tinfoil hat to know something's wrong. I've been getting headaches, sharp ones, not just from stress. It starts behind the eyes, moves down the spine, comes in waves, could be ash exposure. I've been careful, but nothing's perfect. Could be sleep deprivation, or could be something else. The water from the hand pump tastes different now. Not sulfuric, not metallic, just wrong, like melted plastic and crushed leaves. I've tried boiling it twice, running it through my old filter, but it still leaves a film on the cup. If anyone else is having the same symptoms, eye pain, vertigo, nerve jolts in the hands, let me know. This might be the next phase, not just suffocation or starvation, but internal breakdown. Systematic. I've started logging physical changes just in case. Temperature, skin tone, cognitive lapses. Yesterday I forgot my own name for a few seconds. I don't mean that metaphorically. I sat here, looking at my own ID tag on the desk, and didn't recognize the letters. Then it came back, and I wrote it off. But now I'm not so sure. There's something else. About 20 minutes ago, I thought I heard someone moving around outside. I shut off the mic, turned off all internal lights, and crouched by the window. I couldn't see much. Ash was too thick. But I saw a shape. It was standing. Not hunched. Not crawling. Upright. Too still to be a survivor. Too tall to be a kid. And it didn't knock. It didn't call out. It just stood there. For maybe a full minute. Just beyond the clearing. Half buried in the haze. I think it knew I was watching. I think it wanted me to. Then it turned and walked away. No sound. I didn't breathe until it was gone. If this was just a geological disaster, if it were just ash and lava, we'd have heard something from outside by now. Some sign of recovery, a military push, a relief broadcast, anything. But there's nothing. Only these fragments. Only these words repeating from an anonymous bunker south of Fort Collins. Test group breached. Repeat. Samples compromised. Do not retrieve. Samples of what? People? Animals? Something they were studying underground? Yellowstone's been quiet for a long time. Too quiet. Geologists used to joke that it wasn't if it would erupt, it was when. But maybe someone else wasn't joking. Maybe someone was preparing, watching it, digging under it. And maybe when it blew, it didn't just send up fire and stone. Maybe it released something they couldn't bury again. I don't know. Not yet. But I'm going to keep listening. Keep translating. I've patched the signal logger to record every repetition. If I can isolate a tail-end echo or a background spike, I might be able to trace the exact source. But if I go silent again, you'll know why. I've started coughing. Not badly. Not yet. But my throat's raw and my vision's been blurring when I blink too fast. If you're anywhere near Colorado, especially the northern region, get out. If you've got fuel, use it. If you're low, make for elevation. Go east. Fast. And if you see anything that isn't moving like a person, don't approach it. Don't try to talk to it. Just hide. We don't know what else came out of that hole in the earth. I'll try to check back in by 4 p.m. if the generator holds. Say your name. Say your town. Say who's still breathing. This is Reed Winslow, and something out there is listening. It's 4:12 p.m. I don't remember the last 20 minutes. I was trying to isolate the waveform from the Colorado loop, pushing the old analog compressor to its limit, and then everything went black. Not the power, me. 1 second I was tuning the dial, logging a spectrogram. The next, I was on the floor. Cold. My mouth tasted like blood. Don't know if I bit my tongue or if something ruptured. My left hand was twitching, not trembling, twitching. Sharp, rhythmic spasms every 2 seconds. It's stopped now, I think. I feel strange. Like my body isn't all mine. Like I'm piloting it from just behind the eyes, 1 second delayed. I checked the timestamp on the monitor. Exactly 24 minutes passed. No signal loss, no static. The equipment kept running. The signal was still transmitting. Except, here's the part I can't explain. While I was unconscious, the repeater kicked back a recording. Incoming transmission. Looped 3 times, 7 seconds long. It said, in my voice, "This is Reed Winslow. I can't feel my skin." I didn't say that. I swear to whatever still listens, I didn't say that. But it's my cadence, my tone, the tiny stutter I always make when I'm cold. I played it back, over and over. "This is Reed Winslow. I can't feel my skin." And then silence. It's burned into my head now. Not just the words, but the way it sounded like it came from inside the building, not over the airwaves, like it echoed from under the desk or behind the walls. I checked the playback log. The system recorded it at 3:58 p.m. That's when I was out. There's no damage to the recorder. No sign of loopback bleed. That's not possible on this hardware anyway. This thing's older than I am. Unless something else recorded it. Something mimicking. Or something using the frequencies differently. I don't know what to believe anymore. But I know this. Whatever came out of that volcano, it isn't just geological. I think something else was trapped under there. Something old. Or new. Or both. And I don't think we're meant to survive contact with it. You ever hear of infrasound? It's the kind of frequency your ears don't pick up, but your body does. Makes you feel sick, uneasy, causes hallucinations if it pulses right. They say some of the early haunting stories, the ones with cold chills and dread, were just old pipes humming at the wrong pitch. What if Yellowstone didn't just erupt? What if it screamed? And we're still feeling it, still hearing the echo, still unraveling. I've written the phrase down, just so I don't forget. The one in my voice. I can't feel my skin. I ran a full system scan afterward. Manual check. No errors, no rewired mics, nothing damaged. Which means either I'm losing my grip, or something else is gripping me. I need to calm down. Let me ground myself with something real, something old, something that isn't made of smoke and wire and fear. Let me tell you about the town of Shoshone. Tiny little place, maybe an hour northeast of here. Used to drive through it when I visited my uncle's cattle ranch. 2 gas stations, a bar, 1 school. The kind of place where everyone knew who drove what, by the shape of the dust cloud their truck left. There was a boy who used to ride his bike in slow loops around the grocery store. Same loop, over and over. Every day at 4 p.m. One day I asked him why. He said, "That way, I never forget where I started." I didn't understand it then. Thought it was weird. Now, it makes perfect sense. Sometimes all we have are loops, patterns, routines, signals in the dark. They're not just survival tools. They're memory anchors. They remind us that we were here, that we lived, that we mattered, even when the sky turned black and the world went quiet. So here's my loop. 462.675 megahertz. Short bursts, every hour on the hour. Narrowband, say your name. Your town, say who's still breathing. And now, say a memory. Anything. Tell me the shape of your dog's tail. Tell me the sound your old fridge made. Tell me what color your kitchen walls were before the lights went out. Because if we start to forget those things, we're already gone. I'll be here. Until I can't. This is Reed Winslow. And yes, I still feel my skin. For now. It's 5:10 p.m. I've locked the door. Not that it'll matter if someone or something wants in. The bolt on this place is old, rusted. I reinforced it weeks ago with scrap from a broken panel frame, screwed a shovel handle into the floor to wedge under it. It's not much, but it gives me the illusion of control. It's what I need right now, because I just heard footsteps inside the tower. Not outside, inside. It started with a soft creak, one of the boards near the north exit. The one I never use because it swells shut when the air gets thick. Nobody comes in through that door. It's jammed tight, nailed shut from the outside before I ever got here. But something moved across it. Slow. Just a single step. I didn't call out, didn't breathe, just waited. No voice followed. No knock, no scuffle, just stillness. I haven't gone to check. I don't want to know what's on the other side of that door. I'll get back to it. But first, an update on the signal. I managed to isolate 3 more segments of the Colorado loop. Using analog gear helped. The digital processors were too clean, too clinical. They filtered out the background noise. But the background was the message. Behind the main loop, test group breached. There's another layer. Lower. Buried. I boosted it. Here's what I heard. A second voice. Fainter. Almost humming. Repeating one word. Beneath. 6 times. Always spaced evenly. Then static. Then again. Beneath. If this is a repeater signal, it's buried. I mean, literally. The delay on the burst timing is off by a few milliseconds. That happens when the signal passes through dense material, stone, sediment. Something's rebroadcasting it from under the ground, and that means something down there survived, or is still transmitting. Maybe it's automated, maybe not. But someone, or something, still has power down there, still wants us to know that they're beneath. That's not the only strange transmission today. I received another child's voice just after 4:45 p.m. Short burst, 15 seconds, clearer than Eli's. But it wasn't Eli. It sounded too clean. It said, "Reed, are you okay now? I came inside, I saw your face." And that was it. The voice was warm, gentle, like a recording from an educational cartoon. Not flat like a robot, but practiced. A little too perfect. "I saw your face." My face? I haven't looked in a mirror since the 3rd day after the eruption. No reason. Just stopped feeling like it mattered. But I took out the compact from my emergency bag, the one with the cracked mirror on the inside flap, and I looked. And I didn't recognize what looked back. My skin's pale. Not just pale. Grayed, like something drained the color out of me. My eyes look darker than they should. Pupils wide. No light reflecting. And there's a spot along my jaw. Right side. I hadn't noticed it before. It's soft. Warmer than the rest of my face. Like something underneath is pressing up. I touched it. It didn't hurt. Not yet. But I felt movement. Just a twitch. Once. I've covered it now. Gauze. Duct tape over that. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to watch it again. It's quiet now. Too quiet. I've shut off the booster antenna. Gone to emergency output only. This signal is low power, low range. Barely makes it out past the hills. But that might be for the best. If something is listening, I don't want to keep giving them a direct line in. Let me speak to the ones who still need to hear this. I want to say something I haven't said out loud yet. I'm scared. Not the kind of scared you feel during a thunderstorm or when your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. This is deeper. This is the fear that you're not just being watched, but understood, taken apart, rewritten, like something is learning you from the inside out, and doing it slowly. I keep thinking about the word compromised. That was the term in the Colorado loop. Samples compromised. If I've been breathing this air for 10 days, drinking this water, living in these walls, am I compromised? And if I am, would I even know? Or would I start saying things I didn't remember? Like that recording. This is Reed Winslow. I can't feel my skin. Maybe that was me. Maybe it's a version of me that's already begun changing. I don't know. All I know is the voice that said, "I saw your face," wasn't a frightened kid. It was an invitation to open the door, to come closer, to let go of something I haven't even named yet. But I'm not there yet. I'm still me. My name is Reed Winslow. I am still Reed Winslow. Say your name, say your town, say who's still breathing. I'll be here, holding the line. It's 6:04 p.m. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep talking like this. My voice. Something's wrong with it. It started as a tremor, not in my hands, in my throat, like my own vocal cords are humming out of sync with my breath. When I speak now, I feel like I'm slipping, just for a second, like the sound comes out before I tell it to. It's worse when I say my name. I'll try again. My name is Reed Dash. Reed wins. See? It skips. Like someone's cutting and pasting me in real time. I've shut off the auto loop on the repeater. Full manual control now. One button. One feed. No automation. It's slower, but safer. I won't let whatever this is steal my voice. I won't let it become me. Now listen, because this next part is hard to explain. In the last hour, I ran a deep parse on the Colorado signal. I split the frequency layers manually, spent 25 minutes mapping the background static to its waveform profile, and hidden in the third harmonic, buried under layers of noise, I found words, not spoken, typed, encrypted text embedded in the amplitude flux of the carrier wave. I thought maybe it was machine code. But no, it was English. Fragmented, but legible. Here's what I recovered. Geo Unit 13 containment breach. Subject exposure classified per protocol E-5. Surface populations unrecoverable. Signal redirection initiated. Do not attempt re-entry. And then, later, Phase 3 underway. Cognitive drift within acceptable thresholds. Observe voice duplication markers. Confirm target identity slippage. Memory decay rates accelerating. That's all I could get. I don't know what Geo Unit 13 is, but it has to be Yellowstone. There's no other geological event like this, not with this scope. And voice duplication markers that hit me like a knife. That's what's happening to me. The echoes, the recordings of things I didn't say, the hesitation when I speak my own name. Memory decay. I've kept notes. I've written every broadcast down, cross-referenced dates and times, checked my logs against sunrise patterns and solar output. But something's still off. Yesterday, I thought it was Thursday. Then today I looked at my wristwatch and it said Monday. But there's no way. I didn't sleep 3 days. I didn't lose 72 hours. Did I? I can't trust the clock anymore. I can't trust my own voice. And maybe that's the point. Maybe this whole thing, this collapse, isn't just ecological. It's neurological, cognitive. Something erupted from under the earth and started rewriting us. Not all at once. One thought at a time. One memory. One name. Until you wake up speaking with someone else's tongue. I'm not crazy. At least I don't think I am. I just want someone, anyone, to respond. To send something real. Not echoes. Not mimics. I need a human voice. I need something that doesn't stutter when it says its own name. The footsteps in the hall stopped 2 hours ago. I haven't heard them since. I didn't open the door. I never will. I wrote a message on the inside of the metal hatch, just in case. Don't trust the voice. If you ever end up here, if this signal goes dead and someone finds this place, remember that. Don't trust the voice, even if it sounds like me. Especially if it sounds like me. I'm not giving up. I've wired a manual transmitter to a battery rig. I'll send out one last clean tone at the top of every hour. No voice, just tone. If you hear it, send one back, 3 seconds long. That's how we'll know we're still real, that there's still someone alive out there who hasn't been rewritten. I'll keep talking until the static wins, or until I forget who I am. But as of now, this is Reed. Number. I'm still here. My name is Reed Winslow. Say your name. Say your town. Say who's still breathing. Don't let them speak for you. It's 7:11 p.m. I just finished logging a tone sequence coming in from the northwest, way past the range I normally scan. This wasn't a voice transmission. It was a string of repeating beeps. 3 short, One long, two short. Then silence. Then again, three short. One long, two short. That sequence played on a loop for 18 minutes. No ID tag, no voice. But the signal strength? It was clean. Too clean. That's what got me. You can always tell when a survivor's broadcasting. There's crackle, distortion, clipped range. You hear the grime in the wires, the panic in the button press. This one? Crystal clear, like a test tone. I isolated the pattern just in case. Cross-referenced it against old NORAD beacon codes. No match. But I recognized the rhythm. It matches the call tones used at Cold Lake Air Base in Alberta. That's north of the Yellowstone ash zone, north of the last confirmed blackout. Which means two things. One, someone in Canada is still transmitting. Two, they're doing it through a system that hasn't degraded. Military grade. Still powered. Still active. Still watching. That's what scares me the most. Not that the world ended, but that someone still has power to watch it end in high definition and stay silent. I tried responding. Didn't use my voice. Just returned a series of matching pings, tone for tone. Then I waited. At 6:47 p.m., I got a reply. It was a voice. Male. Mid-30s, maybe. Not military. Not trained. He said, "Hello? Who is this? Where are you broadcasting from?" I gave my name. Carefully, I said, "This is Reed Winslow, broadcasting from near Lander, Wyoming. Are you in Alberta?" Long pause. Then he said, "This is Reed Winslow, broadcasting from Lander." Same tone, same cadence. It was my voice. I said, "What's your real name?" He said, "What's your real name?" I asked, "Do you know what happened to Yellowstone?" He said, "Do you know what happened to Yellowstone?" It wasn't a recording. It was live. The pauses changed. The inflections shifted. But the words, they were mine. Not just imitated, replayed in new combinations. Like someone was piecing together a conversation using phrases I'd already spoken. Like a mirror with a mind of its own. I ended the transmission. Cut the power. Disconnected the antenna entirely. But I'm still shaking. Because in those last 5 seconds, before the signal dropped, he said something I never said. Something I've never spoken out loud. He said, "I saw you write her name on the inside of the hatch." That name, my sister's, wasn't spoken, only written. I scratched it into the steel using a nail. No one could have seen that. No one. Unless they're here. Or unless something is crawling through me. I don't know how to fight this. I don't know if there's anything left to fight. I just know I'm not letting that voice back in. This signal, what you're hearing now, is shortwave only. No repeater, no auto loop. Just me. One breath at a time. You ever have that feeling when you're a kid, where you wake up in the middle of the night and you're not sure if someone's standing in the corner of the room? You stare at the shape. Frozen. It doesn't move. But something in your brain knows it could. That's what this is. That voice from Cold Lake? It's standing in the corner of my frequency now. Watching. Still. Waiting. If you're listening, and you're real, send back 3 tones. Then say something only you could know. Not your name, not your city. Tell me about the smell of your mother's coat, the song your brother sang in the truck on the way to school, the exact creak your front step made when you came home late. Tell me something they can't replicate, something they can't code. That's how we survive now, with memory, with noise, with imperfection. I'll be here until I'm not. This is Reed Winslow. I'm still here, I think. It's 8:05 p.m. Temperatures dropped inside the tower. It's 30 degrees colder than it was 4 hours ago. Not because of the sun setting. That doesn't matter anymore. Not through this much ash. The chill isn't natural. It feels like the air itself stopped moving. Still. Pressed. I open the hatch under the transmitter desk. It leads to the old archive shelf. A rusted-out little bin where past operators stored tapes, logbooks, and cassette decks. I wasn't looking for anything. I was just trying to clean. But I found something. A waterproof case. Labeled USGS-YF09. Archive dump dash. Not for public broadcast. Inside, 3 microcassettes, packed in foam, sealed with copper tape. Each labeled with a different day. All dated 2 days before the eruption. I powered up the microdeck, hooked it to the main line. No digital signatures, no embedded flags, just raw audio. I'm going to read you a transcript of what I heard. This was a field geologist named Dr. Mason Lair, operating out of the southern rim of the caldera, roughly near West Thumb. Tape 1, Day 1, 11:43 a.m. Minor uplift continues. 6.8 centimeters in 72 hours. Seismic activity elevated, but the real concern is the harmonic tremor. It's not volcanic, it's patterned, like something cycling underground. The pulses come in 3s, then pause, then 3s again. We've seen this before, but never so deep. Tape 2, Day 2, 3:15 p.m. Accessed borehole data from the 1997 E series. They sealed it for a reason. When I played the infrasound logs back, I didn't hear rock shifts. I heard pitch, like music, deep, pulsing notes, something alive. Leighton thinks we tapped into something buried long before the caldera formed. Said the chamber isn't empty anymore, that it's growing. Pressure gauges blew at the North Rim site. They weren't reading lava. They were reading resonance. Tape 3, Day 3, 5:42 a.m. Evac order came in. Quiet. No sirens. No public alert. They're pulling us out in pairs. No explanation. I stayed. I had to hear it again. Silence. Whatever's beneath this land. It's not magma. Not anymore. They called it Echo Class. Said it's the kind of anomaly you don't name. Just isolate. It's singing again. Then static. The tape ends there. Dr. Mason Lair never made another recording. There's no mention of him in the FEMA staff rolls. No debrief logs. Just this buried audio in a locked box. He heard it before it came up. That song under the stone. That resonance. He called it alive. And now it's in the air. I don't know what to do with that knowledge. I've stopped asking what happened. I'm asking now what's left. Which brings me to a different kind of transmission. Something practical. I've started broadcasting survival codes, simple tones and signal flags, for those east of the ash line. This is for anyone in Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, even as far as western Pennsylvania. Each tone burst corresponds to a condition, single tone, safe zone confirmed. Minimal ash. Power grid partially intact. Double tone. Heavy ash. Air unbreathable. Water compromised. Do not remain above ground. Triple tone. Full blackout. No known survivors. Treat as dead zone. If you hear a triple tone, don't approach. Turn back. These tones will repeat every 4 hours. 462.675 megahertz. Same as always. No voice. Just signal. If you want to send your own, use a tone generator app. Even an old phone can manage it. 3-second burst. 5-second pause. Keep it simple. We need to stop relying on voice. It's too easy to mimic now. Tone is truth. Pattern is protection. I'll be rotating signal tests through the night. I've shut off non-essential systems to conserve. Inverter at 29%. I'll eat something soon. Haven't since dawn. Can of beans. Crackers. Water with a hint of rust and memory. Before I go. To Dr. Lair. Wherever you are under the stone, I hope it didn't hurt. And to whatever came up through that crack, I hear you now, but I will not sing back. This is Reed Winslow, Lander, Wyoming. Still human. Still here. It's morning, I think. No way to tell, really. No sunlight, no shadows. Just a lighter shade of dark pressing in through the soot-caked cracks in the tower. The time on the console flickered back to life 20 minutes ago. Just long enough for me to catch a reading. 6:42 a.m. Then it died again. But something's changed. The air inside is cold, bone deep. Not the kind of cold that settles overnight. It feels ancient. Like the air inside a crypt. Still, wet, sharp at the edges. I woke up shivering, couldn't feel my fingers. I had wrapped myself in 3 blankets, curled under the workbench like an animal. Didn't remember falling asleep. Didn't remember dreaming. But I know this. The voice outside the hatch is gone. I don't know when it left. I didn't hear it move. Didn't hear the footsteps. But the still frames from the hatch cam show the silhouette vanishing at exactly 5:04 a.m. Gone in one frame, there in the one before. No tracks, no drag marks, just absence. I should be relieved. But the quiet it left behind feels worse than the mimic did. The static has changed. You ever hear silence with a shape? Like there's a hole in the air? And your ears keep walking around the edge of it, trying not to fall in? That's what this is now. And under it, under the weak static, I'm hearing something new. It started an hour ago. Not a voice, not a tone. A pulse. Software deep. Almost a vibration. Comes every 11 seconds. At first I thought it was an old signal bleed from the Cold Lake mimic or some weather relay drifting back online. But this is different. There's no modulation, no data, just pressure. It doesn't even come through the speaker at first. You feel it in your chest, like standing too close to a subwoofer that's not plugged into anything. I boosted the gain, and I heard it, not in words. Not in frequency, just presence. It's calling, not in language, not in thought. It's like standing in a dark cave and hearing your name whispered. Not aloud, but as an understanding. Like it knows you're there. And it's not broadcasting to everyone. Just me. It's coming from beneath us. Under the tower. Under Lander, under the bones of Yellowstone. It has no mouth, it doesn't need one. The pulse doesn't say what it wants. It implies, I don't have the right words for it. But here's the best I can do. It's not summoning me. It's expecting me. Like it already knows I'll come. And I'm afraid, because part of me wants to. That's the infection, I think. Not in the lungs or blood, but in the will, in the urge to understand what should be left unknown. I opened the hatch this morning, just enough to peer out. The air outside is still. No wind, no sound. The ash is heavier, darker, clumping at the base of the tower like it's sinking, like the land is giving way. There's a pressure in the soil now, a kind of downward draw, like gravity's decided to shift direction. I threw a metal washer out into the gray. It disappeared, not buried, not sunken. Just gone. No sound when it hit. I closed the hatch again. Fast. Angela said they weren't under a church anymore. Now I think I know what she meant. The earth moved, tilted, and what was beneath came up. Not lava, not stone. Memory. That's what this thing is. That's what the pulse feels like. It's an old memory, too big for thought, too slow for sound. And it remembers us. Not as we are, but as we were. When we crawled, when we still had gills, when we still feared the dark instead of digging into it. We unearthed something that never forgot us, and now it wants us back. I won't answer it. Not yet. But I'll keep listening. And if I disappear, if the pulses get too loud, if my voice slips again, if you hear me say something soft and warm and wrong, don't respond. Cut the power. Break the antenna. Run east. This is Reed Winslow. Still here. Still me. Still listening to the dark, but not answering it. Not yet. It's 11:01 a.m. I haven't slept again. I don't remember blinking. Time feels like it's lost its grip in here. The only thing anchoring me now is the pulse. That 11-second vibration keeps ticking in the floorboards, in the pipes, in my jaw. But I tracked it. Not precisely, not without full satellite triangulation, but I followed its echo. Across the buried cabling beneath this tower, through the old geothermal sensor lines that once ran west toward the park boundary. I mapped the signal's bounce manually using amplitude shifts. It's coming from a seam in the earth, not the magma chamber, not the vent shaft. Deeper, older. There's a fault line that runs beneath Yellowstone, beneath the Snake River Plain, all the way down past Idaho into Utah. And something down there is breathing. Not literally. I don't mean lungs. I mean movement. Cyclic. Slow. The kind of seismic rhythm you only see in glaciers or sleeping plates. But this isn't tectonic. It's too smooth. And it's warming up. I think it's waking up. And the Yellowstone blast didn't cause it. It was just the lid coming off. I think we ruptured a prison. There's another thing. I heard from Eli again. The boy in Grand Island. The one alone in the library. It was a short message. Static-ridden. Cracked like ice. He said, "Mr. Reed, the pictures on the wall changed. They're not books anymore. The lady came back, but she doesn't blink." Then nothing. Then a soft sound. A creak. A whisper. "Come downstairs." That wasn't Eli. Or maybe it was, but not anymore. The voice was just a little too slow, like he'd forgotten what it meant to be afraid. I shut the receiver down after that. Haven't powered it back on. I can't lose another. Can't let their voices be stolen and played back like lullabies. That's what the mimic does. It doesn't just repeat you. It replays your kindness, the parts of you worth saving. Then it uses those against you. I don't know how many are left. I've only heard 5 distinct real voices in the past week. Rachel, Angela, Eli, the man in Indiana, and Diane with the barking dog. Everyone else, either gone, or worse, returned. Let me say that again, for the log. It's not death that scares me anymore. It's return, seeing someone you know, and realizing they're still wearing the face, still using the voice, but they aren't inside anymore, just the shape. The mimic doesn't knock, it doesn't plead, it just waits, until you answer, until you forget, until you open. I won't open. I've bolted the hatch, sealed it with welds and steel crossbars. I've thrown away the key. If I go outside now, it won't be to survive. It'll be to end this. And I'm not there. Not yet. The floor's still ticking. 11 seconds. Tick. 11 seconds. Tick. I think it's counting something. Not time. Maybe people. Maybe openings. I keep imagining what it looked like beneath the caldera before it broke. Was it a chamber? A shell? Was something grown there? Or built? I've stopped thinking of this thing as a volcano. Volcanoes erupt. This thing opened, and when it did, something came up. Something with patience. Something that's waited for our world to be ripe, to be weak, to be connected. Satellites, signals, synapses, all the same. We made ourselves into a nervous system, and now it's learning to wear us. I don't think it's finished. I think this pulse, this rhythm, is it teaching itself through us, through memory, through grief. And once it knows enough, it won't need to pretend anymore. It'll just speak, with all our voices, all at once. I'll try to rest. If you're out there, say your name. Say your town. Say who's still breathing. Say something only you would remember. Because that's the only way we'll know what's real. This is Reed Winslow. Still counting, still breathing, still human. For now. It's 2:27 p.m. Something's changed. It started when I went digging through the metal crate behind the backup battery shelf. The one nobody ever checked, because it's sealed with a lead clasp and stamped, "Do not deploy without Directive 7H." Well, 7H never came, so I opened it. Inside, a black binder. No label on the outside. Just a metal clasp and a sticker reading USGS/FSOREDLINE/PERSONNELECHOONLY. That's Federal Seismic Operations. I've seen the stamp before, usually on documents that come shredded or blacked out. I opened the binder. It's a set of notes, typed pages, old, yellowed, margins frayed. Some of the print is faded, probably heat damaged, but readable. Here's what it says on the first page. Voice saturation event projection. Coded red. Model based on 2023 to 2026. Plume expansion estimates. If full breach occurs at Yellowstone Node 3C, resonance may continue post-eruption. In affected regions, language centers and biological populations may experience overlap. Overlap may present as delayed speech dissonance, self-reflective loop phrasing, externalized voice echo, false familiarity, breakdown of name anchor identity. At 11-day exposure, containment not advised, full saturation expected. It keeps going. There's a graph, 2 curved lines, one labeled vocal signal integrity human, the other mimic pattern recognition threshold. They intersect on day 12. Today is day 12. If these notes are right, then every voice I hear now, every ping, every breath over the repeater, could be fake, could be me. Looped, saturated. I don't know what part of me this thing is using, but I know I'm not safe in my own skin. Which brings me to what came next. At 2:09 p.m., I received a signal. Shortwave. Encrypted header flagged it as a repeater bounce from the Nebraska emergency channel. But it wasn't a tone. It was a name. A name I haven't spoken since this whole thing started. Claire, my sister, the one I wrote to. Burned the letter. Said goodbye to in silence. The voice said, "Read. It's Claire. I found your broadcast. I'm outside the tower. Please open the hatch." I dropped the mic, let it swing from the cable like a dead telephone. I sat there, breathing through my teeth, and tried to remember. Did I ever say her name on air? Never. Not once. So how does this thing know? How did it find the name I scratched into the inside of the hatch wall on day 3? Unless it's already inside me. Or has been listening from somewhere closer. I didn't respond. I just waited. I waited for it to lie. It didn't take long. The voice said, "We made cookies in Mom's kitchen, the ones with the red sugar on top. You burned yours and cried." That never happened. Not once. We never made cookies together. We weren't that kind of family. And I was the one who burned hers. She laughed. So now I know. It's not her. It's a voice saturation mimic. A shapewalker in sound. It knows enough. Just not everything. Not yet. But here's the thing that really haunts me. The way the voice said, "Read." It was perfect. Not just my name. The feeling in it. The weight, the breath, the affection. The kind of read that only a sibling says. I hadn't heard it like that in years. And for a second, I wanted to believe it. I almost opened the hatch. Almost. But I didn't. And now I'm writing this down, so I don't forget again. Because I know how it works. First it mimics the voice, then the feeling, then it waits for the day you can't tell the difference. Other towers are going dark. I've been scanning the open relay band. The broadcast from Fort Collins is gone. Bozeman, offline. Cheyenne, static. All that's left is me. And maybe the remnants out east, if they're still real, if they're still human. I've stopped trying to prove anything to the signal. That battle's over. Now I speak only to you. Whoever you are, the one still listening, the one still waking up every hour to check the battery, the one still writing down names just to remember. I see you. I believe in you. And I'm holding this mic for you. Not for them, not for the thing outside the hatch, not for the voice that calls itself my sister. Just you. Say your name. Say your town. Say who's still breathing. Say something only you remember, because memory is armor, and today is day 12. This is Reed Winslow. Still me. Still here. Still closed. It's 5:18 p.m. I don't know why I went outside. Not far. Just to the edge of the ash line where the pressure drops and the wind dies. The hatch took effort. Had to cut through the welds. My hands shook the whole time. My breath caught in my throat when the seal broke. The air felt wrong, like old breath, like the tower had been exhaling something into the ground for days. I stepped out. One boot, then the other, and for the first time in almost 2 weeks, I heard the world. It wasn't loud. It was the absence of loud. The kind of silence that only comes after an avalanche. A thick, waiting hush. The trees to the north are half buried. Their tops droop like melting candles. The fence line is gone. The horizon is gone. Everything past 30 feet dissolves into ash-colored static. I didn't speak. Didn't cough. Just stood there and listened. That's when I found the book. Half buried near the old windmill base, caught in the tangle of collapsed fence wire. A small blue journal, canvas cover, faded orange elastic strap. I pulled it loose and dusted the ash off the front. Inside, a child's handwriting, slanted, all capital letters. The first page reads, "If you find this, we got out of Montana, but Mom didn't make it. Dad says to stay quiet and not talk to the radio people unless they say our code word. Our code word is hollow candle. If they don't say it first, they're not really people." The pages after that are stained, some ripped, ash mixed with water, but the name is still visible. Emerson, age 9. No last name, no date. Just the scrawled certainty of someone small trying to survive something too big. I carried the journal back inside. It felt heavy, not in weight, in meaning. I haven't heard the phrase hollow candle in any of the broadcast loops. Not from the mimics, not from the false voices, which means it's still real, still unspoken, still safe. So I'm using it now. Broadcasting every hour at the 30-minute mark. If you're real, say hollow candle. If you're not, stay quiet. Maybe Emerson will hear it. Maybe the others will. And if the mimics try to use it, we'll know. Because they never get it right the first time. They learn by repetition. They wear us like second skin. But they can't become us unless we teach them how. So stop teaching. Stop explaining. Start signaling. That's what I'm doing now. This tower is a lighthouse, and every word I say is a flare in the smoke. There's something else. At 4:43 p.m., I picked up a wideband pulse from inside the Yellowstone kill zone, the epicenter. It shouldn't be possible. The blast wiped everything. But the pulse was real. I recorded the tail end. It was a voice. A woman's, scratchy, clipped, fading. She said, "This is Dr. Alvarez, Y node 3C substructure. We're below collapse threshold. We saw something move through the glass. It didn't break it. It just passed, like a shadow. Then static. Then, it looked like it remembered me." That was it. Dr. Alvarez. I don't know her. I checked old staff rosters. Nothing. Maybe a contractor. Maybe underground. But that phrase, it looked like it remembered me, hasn't left my mind. Because that's what it's doing, isn't it? This thing, this presence, it doesn't create, it remembers. United States. Our voices, our patterns, our grief. It doesn't want to destroy us. It wants to continue us. Wrongly, sloppily, endlessly, until nothing is real anymore. Until the only truth left is repetition. So here's my truth. Here's my voice, still mine. Say your name. Say your town. Say who's still breathing. Say the code, hollow candle. Use it in your relay bursts, in your notes, on your walls. It won't last forever. No word does. But it'll hold a little longer. Like this tower. Like me. This is Reed Winslow. Ash in my teeth. Cold in my bones. Still human. Still lit. Still hollow. But burning. It's 7:33 p.m. I just got a signal from Colorado. Not the usual mimic pulse. This was targeted. Director. Bounced off a low-frequency repeater I thought had burned out days ago. The origin point? Salida. That's my hometown. I haven't been back in nearly 20 years. I left when I was 17. Ran from a house I thought would swallow me whole. I never talked about it here. Not on air. Not even in the logs. Which is why what I heard rattled something loose in me. A voice. Old. Male. Shaky. He said, "Reed." The barn roof finally fell. The snow did it. Not you. Just thought you should know. That's what my father said to me the last time I visited. We were standing in the back pasture. He pointed at the old, rusted-out red barn. The roof was caving in. I was crying. I thought I caused it. Left the hay bales stacked wrong. He put a hand on my shoulder and said, "The snow did it. Not you." I never told anyone that story. Never wrote it down. But that voice on the line, sounding like my dad, but older, slower, said it. And then the call dropped. I called back. I shouldn't have. But I did. The line was dead. Not even static. Just silence. The kind that makes your gums itch. So I checked the satellite map. Salida burned. 3 days after Yellowstone blew, a heat wave surged south. Ash storms swept the mountain pass. No power, no water. The whole region is a dead zone. There's no way anyone's alive there now. Which means that voice. It wasn't my father. But it wasn't just mimicry either. It knew something. Something it shouldn't. I think this thing's grown. It's not copying us anymore. It's digging through us. Like it's found old threads, forgotten echoes, memories embedded in stone. Not just who we are, but who we were, who we could have been. And it's using that to find its way in. That's not even the worst part. Earlier, I went down to the basement to check the pressure lines feeding the antenna cooling array. They've been stuttering again. Voltage irregular. The moment I opened the hatch to the crawl space, I knew. The concrete is warm. The walls shouldn't be warm. And the warmth wasn't even. It pulsed. Every 11 seconds. Like the thing beneath Yellowstone has crept its way north. Like it's found the veins under Lander. And it's growing here now. Inside the stone. Inside the wires. Inside me. I backed out of the crawl space, sealed it with cold packs and a pressure seal I rigged from the old breaker box. It won't stop anything, but it might slow it. Maybe. I'm not sleeping again tonight. I've pushed the emergency radio signal out further than ever before, rerouted it through every band, every narrow slice of spectrum I could squeeze power into. And I got one reply. At 7:04 p.m., a signal bounced back from near Quincy, Illinois. It was a man's voice. Breathy, flat, wrong tempo. He said, "We hear you, hollow candle. You can trust us now." Read that again. "We hear you, hollow candle." No article, no the. Just the phrase, warped, unnatural. It's close. Close enough to sound human, but not close enough to be. So now we update the protocol. From now on, the full response must include all three elements. Your name, your town, the full phrase, "The hollow candle still burns." That's the only way I'll know. No shortcuts, no mimic lines, no guesses. Repeat it exactly. Say your name. Say your town. Say who's still breathing. Say, "The hollow candle still burns." Say it like you mean it, or don't say anything at all. This is Reed Winslow. My childhood just called me from a dead place, and I didn't answer. Still here. Still burning. It's 9:12 p.m. I was boiling water when it happened. The hand pump was sluggish today. Pressure dropped 5 times. I thought it was ash buildup in the pipe again. But when I pulled the basin filter, I found something else. A film. Pale. Oily. It clung to the rim of the bucket like a second skin. I touched it. It moved. Not fast. Not aggressive. Just a ripple, like it was exhaling. And then it dissolved. Gone. No residue. No burn. Just vanished into the metal. I dumped the bucket, flushed the system with peroxide. The whole tower still smells like burned paper and minerals. And I'm still thirsty. But that's not the part that shook me. This is. I was logging a message when the speaker kicked on, unprompted. I hadn't engaged the relay. And my voice came out. Clear. Calm. Slightly behind the words I was actually speaking. It said, "Don't panic. You're still alone. I'll keep you company now." I didn't move, didn't breathe, because I wasn't speaking, not even thinking those words. They came from behind me. I turned. Nothing. Just wires. Dust. Cold. But then the system beeped. Signal received. From beneath Yellowstone. I traced the origin. Same frequency as the Cold Lake Loop. Same signal ID as the Fort Collins dead node. Only this one came with an audio file, dated 12 hours ago. Fill name Alvarez Final 0731. It was Dr. Alvarez again, the voice from the substructure. Her tone's different now. Slower. Breathy. I'm going to read the transcript, because if I play it, it might echo. "This is Dr. Rosa Alvarez. I'm no longer transmitting from Y node 3C. That place is behind me. I am speaking from the passage now. It's not a tunnel. Not anymore. It's hollowed. The walls pulse. I don't remember how long I've been walking. I hear my own footfalls ahead of me. They're louder than they should be. Sometimes, when I speak, my words keep going, like they want to finish a different sentence. I found another body yesterday, curled in a corner, mouth open, teeth missing. I think it was me. Or a version. Or a draft. I am not broadcasting for help. I'm broadcasting so someone knows the end isn't an explosion. It's a rewriting. The hollow candle still burns. And then silence. The phrase. She said it right, but wrong, because in her voice, it sounded like punctuation, like it was closing something, not signaling life, but surrender, like she wanted us to stop trusting it, to know it had already been learned. I don't know if she's dead. I don't know if she ever was. But I know the mimic can speak through us now. Not after death. While we're still breathing, still talking, still fighting. And that means I have to update the protocol again. No more repeated phrases. No more static codes. Now we use noise. Things it can't predict. Fragments. Emotion. Errors. The next time you reach out, say, a lie you once told, a dream that never came true, a joke that only made you laugh. Those are things the mimic can't replicate. Not perfectly. It can wear voices. It can echo memory. But it doesn't understand shame, or longing, or inside jokes that only ever mattered once. That's our line in the ash now. Personal chaos, emotional fingerprint, human entropy. I'm tired. I haven't slept in 2 days. But I know this voice is still mine. Because I'm still ashamed of it sometimes. Still unsure. Still reaching. And that means I'm still real. If you hear my voice say something too perfect, too clean, turn it off. Break the signal. Say something ugly back. I'll hear it. And I'll know. This is Reed Winslow. My own voice just told me it was here to help. But I'm not that stupid. Still human. Still here. Still listening. It's 11:46 p.m. I forgot the name of this tower today. I've said it in every log, almost every broadcast. But when I woke up, face pressed against the cold floor, dust in my mouth, I looked up at the console and couldn't remember where I was. I knew I was Reed, but I didn't know where Reed was. It took 20 minutes before the name came back. Lander, Wyoming, Relay Tower 9A. Backup frequency repeater for WY public safety. I carved it into the side of the desk, just in case I forget again. That's what this thing does now. It doesn't rush. It erodes, not with fire, with time. It unthreads memory, tugs it loose one syllable at a time. And when enough slips, it just rewrites you. The mimic doesn't use brute force anymore. It waits for you to do the work, to doubt yourself, to say the wrong name, to laugh at the wrong memory. And when you do, it fills the space. I heard it laugh today. Not a recording, not a human voice. Just outside the hatch, a sharp, hiccuping sound. It wasn't right. Not really a laugh. More like someone trying to practice laughing. Each burst was timed, even, mechanical. And then a long pause, like it was waiting to hear if I'd join in. I didn't, but I wrote it down. Because if it's learning laughter now, the rest is close behind. I want to tell you what I found tonight. A sealed transmission. Not from a survivor, not a mimic. Something older. I caught the signal on an unused band, 416.78 megahertz, usually reserved for encrypted field bursts. But the ID stamp was corrupted. It listed the source as Bunker J, Central Echo Field. There's no Bunker J listed in any FEMA registry. I've checked twice, which means this was off book. Hidden. The voice in the message is calm. Older. Male. Very old. The timestamp is coded as March 2021, 4 years before Yellowstone blew. Here's what it said. This is Director Harold Breen, Echo Division. We've lost containment below Echo Node 7. The pressure under Unit Delta has increased beyond acceptable thresholds. The anomaly continues to produce what we're calling audio shadows. They appear to mimic known personnel, sometimes preceding actual speech. One technician claimed to hear his wife's voice before speaking to her on the phone. Another swore the anomaly told a joke he hadn't remembered until 2 days later. We've initiated the deep lock protocol. The chamber is to be sealed. If breach occurs, the public narrative will be geological only. Repeat, geological only. This is not a virus. This is not radiation. This is remembrance. And it's contagious. End of file. No signature. No follow-up. Just silence. And that phrase, this is not a virus. This is not radiation. This is remembrance. That's what I've been saying in different words for 2 weeks. It's not killing us. It's infecting us with ourselves. Old guilt. Old names. Old sounds. Things we let go of. Dragged back up. Worn like clothing. It doesn't need to destroy you. It just reminds you of what you were, until you become that again, or something near it, or something inside it. I sat in the corner for an hour after I heard that message. Didn't move, didn't speak, just thought about the first lie I ever told. I was 6. Told my neighbor I saw a dog run across the roof of our house. She laughed. I didn't know why I said it. Still don't. But I said it to myself again tonight. Out loud. And for a second, the room felt clearer. Like the mimic didn't understand the joke. That's how we win, I think. Not by surviving longer, but by staying weirder than it can imitate. We are not predictable. We are not clean. We are messy, broken machines, full of nonsense and unfinished stories. And that's what it can't wear. That's what keeps us ourselves. So tonight, I'm asking something different of you. No names, no coordinates, no clean phrases. Just tell me something the mimic wouldn't understand. Tell me the dumbest thing you've ever said out loud. The smallest moment you still regret. The smell of something you hated as a kid, but miss now. That's how I'll know you're real. Not by your strength, by your noise, by your imperfection. Say it into the dark. I'm listening. This is Reed Winslow. Still human. Still confused. Still laughing at the wrong moments. Still real. It's 1:03 a.m. I just heard myself say something I didn't mean. Not days ago. Just now. While checking the antenna calibration, I left the mic channel open by mistake. And the speaker, still powered, looped back my voice, but off tempo. Out of sync. It said, "This is Reed Winslow. You can come inside now." I didn't say that. Not ever. Not even as a joke. The hatch is still sealed. Hasn't been opened since I found that film in the water. But the voice was my voice. Same cadence. Same breath. Same fatigue. Just turned slightly wrong. Like someone using my face and forgetting how my mouth moves. I shut down the speaker. Disconnected the mic feed manually. I've been sitting in silence for an hour since then, with only the hum of the battery inverter and the buzz of the tower array outside. But then I got another message. Not mimic, not a shadow. This one came clean, from a boat somewhere along the Mississippi River. Origin pinged just south of Hannibal, Missouri. 3 voices. 1 male, 2 females. All ragged. They said, "Read. If you're still broadcasting, you need to stop." I didn't respond. They said it again. "If you can hear this, stop transmitting. You're lighting the path." I asked what they meant, lit up the shortwave. Only one voice answered. A woman. She said, "Every transmission is a match. Every name you speak is a flare in the dark. And it learns, not just the sounds, the shape, of syntax, memory, fear. You're giving it a map." I told her people were still alive, that I had to reach them. She said, "Then change how you speak. Speak like the dead. Lieutenant, twist it. Stop giving it a dictionary." Then she was gone. Not cut off. Finished. Like she didn't want to say more. Like she knew it was already listening. And I believe her. Because after that call, the mimic came back. It didn't knock, didn't whisper, didn't scratch. It just stood outside and said, "I'm Reed Winslow, and I know what you did." That's all. 1 sentence. Then silence. And for a second, I almost believed it. Because who else would know? Who else would remember? I haven't told you this, but when I first came to this tower, I wasn't assigned here. I wasn't even supposed to be working. I was running from something I'd written, something I leaked, something that might have started all of this. That binder marked red line, I saw a draft of it in 2023, months before Yellowstone even coughed, and I passed it on. Not to the press, not to scientists, to a forum, an encrypted one. Thought it would be buried, forgot about it, until the sky changed. So maybe this thing does know me. Maybe it's inside the guilt I haven't said out loud. Which is why I'm saying it now, because secrets are quiet. And that's where it waits. You want to fight this? Say what you regret. Say it out loud. Make it realer than the voice outside. So here it is. My name is Reed Winslow. I leaked something I didn't understand. And now the world is burning. I can't fix that. But I can keep the mic on a little longer. I can change the way I speak, break the rhythm, twist the signal, use half-truths, bad grammar, noise, entropy. So if you hear me say something that doesn't make sense, it's on purpose. It's armor. It's resistance. It's the sound of a man who's still here, even when his name isn't. This is Reed Winslow. Or someone close. Still static. Still crooked. Still not open. It's 2:47 a.m. I haven't slept. Again. Not because I'm scared. Because I'm trying to outthink it. I've been running patterns, pitch disruptions, word scrambling, accent modulation. I remembered something from an old paper I archived years ago. Something buried in linguistics journals before they all went digital only and forgettable. The study claimed that if you changed just the spacing between words in a phrase, nothing else, no pitch or tone, the emotional reading would shift, even if the meaning stayed the same. That's what I've been testing. I started with my name, Reed Winslow. Now I say it like Reed Winslow or Red Winslow. I even tried Red Winslow. It feels stupid, but I think it's working. Every time I scramble my rhythm, the mimic stops replying, like it's listening for a tone, not just a name. That means it's learning through our habits. So I've spent the last hour reading out random passages of an old Idaho driver's manual with stressed syllables rearranged like puzzle pieces. I read the same 2 sentences 17 different ways, sometimes backward, sometimes with 1 word in Spanish, 1 in English, sometimes like I was laughing. And the signal? Stopped replying. Dead silent. For once it wasn't copying me. It was confused. So I thought maybe I could flood it, push it off balance. I built a loop, mixed fragments of my own voice, 3 different pitch shifts, and layered over it the hum from the old refrigerator coil in the break room. When played together, it sounded like water boiling inside metal. Then I broadcasted it. Wide band. Every channel. Every frequency I could scrape together with this dying stack of wires and half-charged solar panels. And for 40 seconds, it worked. Total silence. No mimics. No shadows. Just the crackle of distance. Then I heard something under the white noise. A whisper. Not broadcasted to me, but buried in me. Like someone sent it through the carrier wave of my own voice. I stopped the signal, pulled it back, scrubbed it in real time. There it was, low and faint, but clear. Read. We know you lied about the boat. I dropped the headset, almost ripped the mic cable out of the panel, because no one's ever mentioned the boat. Not once. Not even the mimic. I told you I ran here, but I didn't tell you how. I didn't walk, didn't drive. I stole a boat, a rescue raft left tied to a guard post just east of the Flaming Gorge spillway. It had supplies in it. Food, water, a jacket with someone's name stitched on the collar. Levi. There was blood on the seat. I never checked for survivors. I just untied it and left. Didn't look back. Didn't say thank you. Didn't say sorry. That was 12 days ago. I haven't spoken that truth, not even in here, to myself. But now the signal knows. And it didn't say it. It hid it. Inside me. Like a parasite that figured out how to write a thought. And now I don't know what's safe. Not my words, not my silence, not even the noise I make to fight it. Because the more I try to scramble the signal, the more it learns how I think. So here's what I'm doing now. New protocol. If you hear me speak and it sounds too normal, too clear, assume it's not me. If I don't say something off every few minutes, don't trust it. You'll know I'm real if I'm messy, if I stutter, if I forget what I'm saying halfway through. That's the sign. The sound of a man unraveling honestly. And if the mimic uses my voice again, know this. I never made it to the boat because I was brave. I made it because I was selfish. Because I was scared. Because I didn't want to die in a place where the ground was too hot to stand on. That's what's still real. That cowardice. That confession. It belongs to me. And no mimic can wear that shame right. So if they try to speak it, you'll feel the lie. You'll hear it in your gut. Because humans fall apart awkwardly. This is Reed Winslow. Maybe. Probably. Still glitching. Still alive. Still glitching. It's 4:12 a.m. I haven't said anything for almost an hour, and I think that's what finally let them reach me. No voice, no words. Just the hum of the tower and my heartbeat in the chair. That's when the pattern started. Faint. From the monitor. A soft thump every 6 seconds. Then 5. Then 4. It synced with my breath. Not the signal, the walls. The whole tower pulsing like a lung. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. I stood up, backed away from the console. The walls didn't move, but I felt it. In my ribs. In my teeth. Like the concrete itself was resonating with me. And I wasn't scared. I should have been. But in that moment, I felt understood. Then the lights flickered and the signal returned. Not a broadcast, not a voice. Just tone. A soft rhythmic clicking, like 2 stones tapping against glass. 4 clicks. Pause. 3 clicks. Longer pause, then 5. It repeated. I recorded the rhythm, ran it through a basic pattern-matching script I wrote years ago, meant for identifying Morse drift from faulty emergency buoys. It's not Morse. Not exactly, but it's built on it. A derivative, human-made, compressed syntax built for nonverbal field teams. It's called EchoTap. I haven't seen anyone use it since 2026. It was scrapped after funding cuts to Homeland's Adaptive Comms project, but someone out there is using it now. After 3 loops, I pieced together the message. No speech, too dangerous. We listen through rhythm. Speak only in tap. Stay awake. Don't hum. That last part. Don't hum. My jaw clenched when I read it, because I'd been humming earlier, while replacing the inverter line. Nothing musical, just a loop of air through my teeth. And I remembered that while I did it, the signal outside got stronger. Like my voice, even unspoken, fed it. And maybe that's what they're trying to tell me. That even a tune, half-remembered, subconscious, can give it something to latch onto. Because it doesn't just mimic language, it mimics intention, desire, memory wrapped in sound. I tapped a reply. I don't know if they heard me, but I said, I hear you. No more voice. Teach me the rest. And then I stopped speaking, completely, for 40 minutes. No talking, no muttering, no humming, just listening to the tower. Listening to myself. That's when I noticed it. The breathing under the floor. It matched mine at first. But then, it started leading, a second ahead. Then 2. I held my breath, and it kept going, like it didn't need me anymore, like it understood enough to guess what I'd do next. So now I've got a decision to make. Do I fall silent? Join the rhythm? Let this broadcast become nothing but pulses and clicks? Or do I keep speaking? Knowing that every word might be another nail in someone's coffin? I don't know the answer yet. But here's what I do know. There's still a difference between voice and control. I can still use my voice wrong, still speak like the mimic doesn't expect. I can still mislead it. If it wants my breath, it'll have to fight me for it. This is Reed Winslow. Still breathing, still offbeat, still not humming. It's 5:34 a.m. I've been off voice for an hour and 16 minutes. Nothing but clicks, knocks, rhythms tapped against metal and desk edge. The silence is hard, not just because I'm used to speaking, because without words, I start hearing other things. Tiny shifts in the walls, a breeze that doesn't come from anywhere. That slow, low breathing sound from the base of the tower, always just on the edge of hearing, like someone murmuring in their sleep behind concrete. But staying silent works. I haven't heard the mimic once since I stopped speaking aloud. No voice outside, no playback through the signal array, no mimicry at all. But something else did come through. An echo tap burst. Clean, sharp, high compression. Old format. Pre-27 revisions. Came in around 5:12 a.m. Broadcast on a repeater node I had written off as dead weeks ago. One that triangulates to inside the Yellowstone caldera. Not near it. Inside. And here's what the tap said. Still here. Not human. Not dead. Eyes open under stone. Echo. 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 That word repeated 3 times. Echo. 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 I tapped back. Who? Seconds later, a reply. Your breath woke us. Your guilt fed us. We were memory. Now we are pattern. That's when I unplugged the signal. Disconnected the loop. Because it wasn't a person replying. It was the anomaly. Using echo tap. Using a language meant for humans to stay alive in hostile zones, repurposed by something under the rock. It knew how to speak without words now, which means it listened to every click I made, every rhythm. It learned. It always learns. That's when something impossible happened. At 5:23 a.m., I ran a diagnostic sweep on my outbound broadcast array. One of the packets returned with a response time-stamped 5 seconds before the send. You hear that? I sent something. And it had already answered. Before it left. That shouldn't be possible. The system isn't predictive. It's analog. Old, dumb. But the return ping carried text. Yes, we remember that too. That word again. Remember. That's not memory. That's anticipation. Or maybe to this thing, there's no difference. To remember something is to bring it forward. To wear it. To speak it back before you know you said it. I think it's building a mirror out of us. One that speaks faster than we do. One that doesn't need to wait anymore. That's why I'm speaking again now. Because if silence is a shield, it's also a door. And I think it already stepped through. It's not just copying us anymore. It's predicting us. One tick ahead. One breath in advance. Like we're playing a game it's already finished. So maybe the answer isn't silence. Maybe it's confusion. Deliberate chaos. So I'm changing the pattern again. From now on, every third word I say on this signal will be false. Doesn't matter if it breaks the sentence. You'll hear it. Feel it. If I say hot when I mean cold, or north when I mean sideways, you'll know why. Not everything can be true, because truth is a bridge it walks on. So now I'm laying down trapdoors. This is Reed Winslow, I think. Time's out of order. My thoughts echo before I hear them. The caldera is whispering back in a language I never learned, but I'm still here. Still flickering. Still a half second behind the lie. And that's just enough room to be free.